All right, everybody, welcome back to the Pretty Chill Podcast, PCP. Today we are chilling with my friend Peter Scott IV.
Yeah, John, thank you for having me, man.
If you're here for Peter Scott III or the second, change the channel.
Nope, just the fourth.
We got numero 4.
That's
How's
right.
it going, Peter?
Good, brother. How are you?
I'm amazing. I'm so pumped to chat with you today. But real quick, on the 4th, have you owned that forever? Is it like...
You know, I have. I've actually felt like a lot of significance around it. My dad, my grandfather, and great-grandfather were all named Peter Lowell Scott. So from the moment I was a kid, I just had like a lot of pride in that. And in fact, now that I'm a father, my wife and I have a 2.5-year-old. His name is Peter Scott V, which is wild. So
I'm going to cross that follow-up question off. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, his nickname is Finn.
That's why. That's why I didn't know that.
But Peter is his official name. So he's Cinco. He's the 5th.
I feel like that junior and the second and the third has become popular in sports now. You see that like
totally.
When
on
we were
the
growing
jerseys
up,
and everything. Yeah,
we had Ken Griffey Jr.
Yep.
Cal Ripken Jr.
That's
and
right.
I think that was about it.
But here you see it a lot.
Here now, now I think this is the new thing. Well, I'm stoked to have you in. Peter and I met 4 or 5 years ago or so. We have like an amazing group of mutual friends. We always bump into each other, and I always leave the hangouts like, I wish I'd talked to Peter more, because Peter's got like this energy to him, and he's always just happy, positive, and all the things. So the first question is like, why are we so happy? What's going on? Like, where are we at?
Yeah.
What's going on with this?
I think I had an interesting upbringing in childhood. There was a lot of pain when I was younger. And so I think happiness is a way that I am able to be more present and extract lessons from life that can be painful. I moved around a lot. I was living with different parts of my family. And so I actually learned at a very young age to kind of connect with people in a way where it was genuine, but it wasn't bringing negative energy no matter what was going on in my life. So it just kind of became like a deep ingrained identity or way of being. And it feels good. And there's times when I, struggle to connect more with the non-happy part of life, the sadness, the anxiety, the stress, all the things that every one of us experience. But yeah, I appreciate the, that acknowledgement.
Yeah. I mean, were you always like a happy kid? Is 3rd grade Peter sitting in class and he's got a big smile on his face and cracking jokes, or did something happen to like snap you into this happy
Good question. I would say that naturally I was always happy. With that said, I think that I found a deeper connection by showing that, like expressing it fully, not suppressing it in any way. I've actually gotten feedback later through personal growth and other things that I was doing that it'd be beneficial to kind of bring more of a serious presence to things, which felt super unnatural to me. But it was a way of being that I really learned from my mom. My mom had a big impact on me, both challenging impact, but also beautiful impact. But her natural state is joy and, excitement and all that. And I think I just kind of picked that up from her.
I can see that.
Yeah.
So have you, do you feel like you've maybe been overly happy or masked things with like humor and stuff like that? And
yeah, totally. Yeah. Like a humor to, almost create space, because like connection and intimacy felt uncomfortable at times, right? So if there was somebody who's being vulnerable, then I'd almost like crack a joke out of it, which is really not a great thing to do for them, but it was just like a way to feel safer for me, if that makes sense.
Totally. I was the same way. I would do anything to avoid like a serious conversation, or if I needed to be vulnerable, I would always crack the joke. And then if that didn't get me by, then crack another one until it was gone. And I like you, I got the advice, maybe take some of these things a little bit more serious, and that's helped me. But I was actually at an event last weekend, and they were doing this exercise where the dude had an actual mask that he handed out. Everybody in the audience had an actual mask. Yep. And you put what you mask
yourself as.
Yeah. And I was filming, so I was working, but I saw a lot of people with the humor mask. Yeah. And I like had that flashback of like, oh man, that used to be me. And they actually like acted it out where they put the mask on, they were looking in a mirror, and they're they're just like talking to their old self with that, or
old
I self,
love that. That's really
or the
powerful.
current. Yeah. And I was just like really trying not to listen because I was trying to focus, but man, that was a big one to overcome.
For sure. Yeah. I think now that we're talking about it, like part of the pattern for me was I moved around a lot as a kid, living with different parts of the family. So like if I'm moving to a new school and I don't know anyone, I want to figure out how to create connection and friends as quickly as possible. And so I think humor was the pattern for doing that.
Yeah.
Right. So like it was a way that I would be accepted, and then that became a pattern over time because it would just be reinforced every time I would be in that situation.
What were you doing moving all over the place?
Parents were split up. So interesting childhood. My parents split up when I was 6 months old. And so my dad wasn't faithful to my mom, and so she kind of separated, and I went to live with my mom. And so for the first 10, 12 years of my life, I never really knew my dad. And then later, my mom struggled with alcoholism, and so she was going in and out of rehab during my childhood. And so I had all sorts of different like patterns around fear, like fear of not being loved, fear of not being worthy, all of that, as a kid. And so lived with my grandparents for a period of time, eventually went to reconnect with my father and live with him for a period of time. And then he went through a pattern of alcoholism. So it was really, really tough. But I also look at like feeling very, very blessed because I had grandparents in my life, and I had parents of friends of ours who helped kind of be guardians for me as a kid.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's like this gratitude of making it, and like your normal, better than normal,
totally
functioning guy living this amazing life where you had all these things against you.
Thank you.
The struggles with the parents. I mean, that always is a root for a lot of folks' dependencies or whatever they have. But it seems like you got off kind of scot-free.
I did.
I mean,
I had good term there. I did have a period of time where I was partying and stuff like that, but no addictions or anything like that. I think I just saw such a bad dark side to that it was very clear to me. And it's easy to be in that same position and make the opposite choice and just go, oh, it's part of my genetics, or it's, it's in my blood or whatever. Cause I remember being told that as a kid, being like, you can never have a drink. And again, I can drink socially now, but I never really, I think if there's an addiction that comes through me, it can be kind of my work, which I am really passionate about, but I can get kind of lost in. That can be a healthier addiction, but still an addiction, and still can be something where it can be consuming.
Totally.
So
well, I want to talk about your work in a second, but one last question on your upbringing. Did you have like maybe it was your grandparents, like a strong like mentor and voice that, because it sounds like you've always had like a good head on your shoulders, and if somebody saw you kind of inching close to the edge, is there somebody that kind of talks some sense into you?
It was definitely my grandparents, both sides. I was blessed to have my mom's parents help raise me. So I actually lived with them from like 10 to 12 years old when my mom was going into rehab. And so having them kind of be a rock for me was really, really powerful at that age. And then my father's parents, my grandparents on that side, also were very involved. I didn't see them as much. I never lived with them, but I'd see them, at least a few times a year, talk to them often. And it was interesting because like this acknowledgement again for my positivity and happiness, I appreciate it, but I noticed that again, it almost like was as you said, a mask, like I was being a chameleon to be loved by others because I'm being pulled in all these different environments. So, I just feel, again, I wonder where I would be if I didn't have my grandparents in my life. And then also close friends of mine, I had other friends, fathers who became a father of me and helped raise me, at times when my dad wasn't around.
So Peter's in like leadership and coaching and all these things, which I want to like dive into, but what were you wanting to be when you were like in middle school and high school? Did you have some, because I don't know anybody that was like, I want to like work with leadership stuff. I want to be an astronaut or whatever it was. What were you thinking? For
me then, this was probably like elementary school. I wanted to be a marine biologist. I loved the water. I loved the ocean. So that was one desire early on.
And where were you growing up?
I was in actually Sedona, Arizona of all places.
Okay.
So I was in Sedona,
not next
living
to
there. Nope. Not near the water, but I just loved the water whenever I was there. because I was born in Florida and I would hear of stories of my dad being a sailor, like he had a sailboat and he would take boats from the Keys, from New England down to the Keys. I felt like I was aspiring to be at a young age, this like Jimmy Buffett kind of person who lives on the ocean. And marine biology seemed like a respectable profession. And then I went through the stage like many kids do of like wanting to be a professional athlete. So my sport was basketball, right? And I was like, oh, I'm going to play in the NBA one day. And I remember in like 5th grade, like writing down like, okay, I'm going to play for the Phoenix Suns. This is the position that I'm going to be in, and had zero talent required to do that. And then of all things, I wanted to become a CEO because of my grandfather. My grandfather was a CEO, an entrepreneur, and I just really respected him in many ways because he was very driven and impactful in his career. And, as I'm older now, although I respect people who are at that level, driving C-level executives of Fortune 500 and 100 companies, it can come at a cost, and I didn't think I knew that cost early on, but I see it now looking back. And so I love running my own company. I love the work that I do, but I also am so grateful that family and free time and friends are such a significant value in my life, because when I think back to my grandfather, they weren't for him at all. It was just career. That was the only thing.
Just dialed in.
Yeah.
Wow. So let's talk about your work. I know you got a few things going. Like let us know what you're up to and what you're pumped up about.
Thank you for asking. My what I'm most excited about right now is helping corporate leaders transition from corporate and build a coaching business. And I've been helping coaches launch businesses for a long time now, like about 10 years, which is wild. I started as a coach myself. I worked in mindset and peak performance coaching. And after a few years living in San Diego where we do, this is kind of the mecca for a lot of coaches and online businesses. And a few of them came up to me and I realized I learned a lot about marketing and sales and systems and became passionate about teaching them. So that is something that I'm really passionate about, because recently I've decided to kind of narrow it down to people with like 20 to 30 years of experience in a certain profession, because they have expertise that they can now repackage and purpose into their own coaching business. And I think coaching businesses are one of the best ways to create freedom. I think any entrepreneur can relate to, like, there's a lot more freedom in entrepreneurship than in a job oftentimes. So
it's such a yes and no, right?
Yes.
Like I just saw a meme yesterday that was just like, I don't want to work a 9 to 5, so instead I'm going to work a 24/7 or whatever it was. I'm like, sure. Because when you're running your own show, man, like,
it never stops, right?
It never stops. Yeah. But for me, like, I don't want to do anything else.
Totally.
It's a totally different energy, and there's just like so much pride that goes into everything.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There's like at least once a week, I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Let me just get a 9 to 5. No offense to anybody that has one, but man, doesn't it sound nice just to, okay, from 9 o'clock, I'm going to show up. Here's the work I got to do.
Totally. And then unplug.
5 o'clock, I leave. I don't have to think about it. I'm not on Slack at 8 p.m.
Yep.
I get a little break and Saturday and Sunday off. And then the more I think about it, it's like, that sounds good for about a month, I think. And then I would be like, okay, I'm ready to like dive into my passions.
Totally. Yeah. I think that, I started my career in all things in investment banking. And so very different than what I'm doing now. And we worked really hard. I always had a hard work ethic, but putting 80 hours, 90 hours a week, again, into entrepreneurship, into your own business is not uncommon. Investment banking, the same thing, but I would not want to do that because I wasn't passionate about it, right? So it's like, would I work that hard in something that can make me wealthy but not happy and fulfilled? And the answer was a clear no for that.
Totally.
But I can totally relate the idea at times of being like, oh, it'd be so nice to just unplug at 5 p.m. and not think about it till the next morning.
I've had a few friends that jump ship on their entrepreneur journey and got a 9 to 5, and like there was a sliver of me that was just like, oh,
totally,
that sounds nice,
so good,
but I'm not ready to jump ship yet. Gotta just. And it's just like, and it's just like building the systems to make your life easy.
For sure.
And the first, depending on what you're doing, but I'm assuming most ventures are a freaking grind in the beginning. Like I'm in, I think, year 4 or 5, and I still feel like I'm in this foundational place. Like this podcast, for example, I've had this idea for years, but I haven't had the time or energy or money or whatever
Yeah.
to do it. But now, okay, the foundation is built.
Totally.
I can start clearing space. I can hire other people and start taking on these types of projects. So it's just, you just got to be ready for the journey ahead.
I'm shocked that you're only in year 4 or 5. Like I'm so grateful for you because we just worked together for you to do a photo shoot and a video shoot for my new website. And I'm just like, wow, your creativity and your excitement and passion for this. I thought you've been doing this way longer than that.
Well,
but I want like the listener to hear that too, because I think we live in this world of like the TikTok and the YouTube and all these things that are, oh, you just push this button and overnight you're a success, or, it doesn't require sacrifice or effort. And it's not true. It really does require, a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot can be achieved in 4 or 5 years, and 4 or 5 years is not that much time either.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally. Well, I appreciate that. And yeah, Peter and I have been, he walked in today and I was like, you've been in the studio like 3 times this week. We did some photos. He's got a whole new brand launching. So we did some video for that, but yeah, it's been 4 or 5 years kind of just in this brand. I've been doing video and photography for a while. Then I kind of had a partner, a mutual friend, Jason. We were kind of working together, but it got to a point where we were kind of both like, because my creativity was just focused in that company, which was very limited and boring.
Totally.
And Jason was kind of over it, want to do his own thing. So when we decided to kind of split, I had a client at that time I was doing some video work for. And then the next month I had another client. So I just had those 2, and like that got
So you made that transition with just 1 or 2 clients?
One at a time.
Wow.
And it just was like, this is going to work.
Yeah.
And I was nearing 40, or I was close, maybe I was.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm this young buck, hungry.
Yeah.
Remember how we were when we were in our 20s?
Sure, yes.
I'm like, man, like my grinding days need to be over, but I've committed and like had to just grind to kind of build things out.
Totally.
And it's been a journey, but I feel like even in this very like specific month that we're in, I feel like this is the first time where I'm feeling some space.
Oh, beautiful.
I'm feeling like things are good and staying, like I have no fear.
Yep.
If all my current clients left me today, I feel like tomorrow I can like go get some new ones.
Yeah.
Like, so that's a great feeling.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. That's a great feeling.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you a little bit about coaching. So, coaching was this term that was new to me maybe 5-6 years ago. I mean, when I think coach, I think high school football coach, whistle, I'm running sprints or whatever. And then I heard this life coaching thing, and then it seemed like it blew up quite a bit. Like everyone was trying to be the coach. What have you seen in, like, what's been the evolution in getting started in coaching? Because I feel like at first it was somebody who maybe had some success that wanted to share that and get some people going. But now the coaching is, I mean, there's just no limit to it right now. It's a whole nother
level. Yeah. This industry has exploded, specifically in like the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I've been in the industry since 2010, and I actually worked for a coaching company out of Chicago called Lifebook.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Think so.
They're now, I think, owned by Mind Valley, which is a huge company. And I got to work for them and see kind of the who's who of the coaching industry. They would come through as clients, and I got to meet the biggest names you can imagine. And it was amazing. And at times I saw that they often weren't who they presented on stage behind the curtain, right? And with that said, the evolution of the coaching industry, this demand has exploded. And the challenge, though, is there's a ton of competition. It has become very, very saturated. The good news is there's a lot of demand, but the problem is there's a lot of saturation. And I think that in this industry, it's going through a big transformation right now because trust is at an all-time low. And we've noticed this in our own company, talking to people that are interested in starting a business who may have worked with 3 different coaches already and got no results, or started to look at these different TikTok people and get these huge hypey promises and then never actually get the support that they were looking for. So it's interesting where this industry is going to go. that's one reason why I've chosen to really narrow down with people that have a lot of experience and expertise, because when you have that, it's so much easier to build a coaching business, right? There's nothing wrong with starting and building a business as a 19-year-old life coach, but if you don't have much life, that you've lived, it's hard, right? And I think it's really important to develop a level of mastery in what you're delivering before you go out and market it. I think, yes, you want to build your marketing skills and sales, and those are important. And we teach our students to do that. And it's important to become the best in the world at what you do, or at least intend to do that, to make a difference.
What do you feel like so if someone is looking for their first life coach, and they're maybe looking for a new career path or finding themselves, what are some things that they might look for in a coach?
So if somebody is actually looking to hire a coach, you're saying?
Yeah.
Good question.
This is basic level. We'll climb to where
totally.
you're at now. Yeah.
Number one, there's got to be a sense of safety and trust. Yeah. And so that's why for a coach to be successful, it's so important that they have content out there, specifically video content like this, because the content's going to be as if there's not enough right now with AI and ChatGPT. It's going to be insane. And so people need to have a connection to who they're going to hire and have a sense of relatability to that person, and a sense of knowing that they have gone through what they're struggling with. So like the more, if you're wanting to become successful as a coach, the more that you communicate the problem that you help your clients solve, the more you're going to attract clients. Do
you feel like this is a feeling that the client's going to have, or do they have like a checklist, or
definitely a feeling? Definitely a feeling. I don't think, some people may, who have worked with multiple coaches over the years, have more of a, this is my criteria, but I think many people, it's almost like an intuition or a gut feeling. And that can be developed pretty fast, but also like over time, right? It's interesting that I found that when we talk with prospective clients right now, we're often not the only person they're talking to. They're talking to others, because the magic of social media, when you click on one person's ad, everyone else follows you online too. So I don't think, I don't say this to discourage people from getting into the industry. I think it's really important that you do this, because I think we have one of the biggest impacts in people's lives in a positive way. It's just important to have developed that mastery so that you can leverage that and that expertise to help the clients.
What are you seeing? Like, what are some of the patterns or common themes of people, again, first starting looking for a coach? What are some of the normal threads that you see?
So looking for a coach, again, I think I focus more on helping them start the business than looking to hire the coach. But if somebody's looking to hire a coach, transparency and results are the two words that come into me. So number one, true, genuine honesty about somebody's path, right? So what is this person's experience that gives them the ability to be able to help me on my journey, whether I'm looking for a health coach or a life coach or a business coach? Transparency in knowing that, what's the real truth, not the manufactured stuff, not the Instagram stuff, the real, genuine, authentic stuff, meaning not just the highlight reels, but the behind the scenes, if that makes sense. That's really, really critical. And I'm curious from your experience, because I think that produced material is really important, but there's almost like a shift away from the high production stuff to more of the real, raw, not sexy stuff, because it's more trustworthy in a way. Have you noticed that at all?
Yeah, that's the trend right now. And it's funny, when you mentioned highlight, that rung a bell for me, because I remember, so Instagram back in the day, for our younger audience that's listening, back in the day, when Instagram came out, I was like, oh, amazing, because I was really into photography and was traveling the world and taking all these photos. I'm like, oh, amazing, I got this gallery, and it was photography friendly. It wasn't the ads and all the weird stuff. I don't even think there was video back then. So I was like, this is great. I can just post all my photos that I'm taking that I'm super proud of. And, I'd get all those dopamine hits. Oh my God, your photos are amazing, blah, blah, blah. And the more I got that, I was like, it was starting to trigger me. And I remember typing to a few people, just like, well, you're just seeing the highlights. These are just highlights of, oh, John, you're living this amazing life. Which I was, but also these are just the highlights of it. You don't see any of these behind the scenes things. And I think, man, when was that? Maybe 5-6 years ago when the trend started to change to the vulnerable stuff. And it's still lingering.
Yeah.
And now when you mentioned like the highly produced stuff is kind of going out, and it's more like the iPhone and the rest of that. It's so hard to stay on top of the trends but from what I hear, it's like the more raw, the better.
Yeah.
The lower production, the better.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people are like asking me if I'm worried, because I'm all about the high production. I'm like, no, there's like plenty of raw stuff, plenty of highly produced stuff. This is just what I like to do.
Yeah,
like,
I think it's both. Yeah. I think you definitely want to have both, right? Because especially like as I narrow down into the corporate world, there's got to be a sense of like competency and professionalism, and which is why I came to you and I hired you. And I was like, I got to get some good photos and got to get some great video and stuff like that with this new website launch. Because my website is literally like 10 years old right now. And I'm like, okay, I've evolved as a human since then. So having that, not just the selfie videos, right, that people can connect to and watch quickly, but like the real nice produced ones, I think increases a level of value, right, that you bring.
Yeah. For like when I'm scrolling, if it looks like crap, I'm not stopping for a second.
Totally.
And don't even get me started on bad audio. If it's bad audio, I like will turn the phone off, face down, done with it. So I just like things that look and sound nice. And I have a client that I produce his podcast and I shoot his social stuff. Yeah. And we have this social, I guess more on the marketing side now. And so we're playing all the games, and we were in here the other day and we needed to shoot some stuff. So I'm setting up the camera and he's like, no, we're doing iPhone. And I'm like, so we're in this.
Oh yeah.
So this client is paying me like great money.
Yeah.
We're in the studio. I have cinema grade equipment, but we're shooting this on an iPhone. And he said, yeah, because of that specific,
medium or like
whatever,
channel,
whatever the sale was, this doing it on the phone was a better connection for whatever reason. And I was like, all right.
Interesting.
It was. Yeah. So I mean, I'm noticing that. Right. And so I think that, the other thing that I'm noticing for coaches that are wanting to build their businesses is, for a coaching business, it can be one of the most challenging things to market because we're the face of it. Right. And so when we're an online creator, especially if you're older, I think if you're younger, if you're in your 20s and 30s and you just grew up with all that social media stuff, it's not as bad. But I'm noticing, like, I'm 40 now. Some of the clients that I have that are in their 40s or 50s or 60s, there's all sorts of like fear of being seen and fear of judgment and fear of rejection. And if you think about the culture that our parents or grandparents grew up in, they're not as forthright with their challenges and vulnerabilities. So it's an edge. For sure. Yeah, it's a wild time. And I think you and I kind of grew up you're 40, I'm 43, I think, something like that. And we grew up in that little window of we grew up without the technology, and we were kind of in the old I forget. I always get the generations
old world. I'll just call it.
So like, I mean, I went to a small high school and I was like the only kid in the school with a cell phone. And then the internet was just starting to come online. So we had like this window of before tech and then right when tech was emerging. So I always feel like our range has like kind of like this big knowledge of being like at the end of tech and the beginning of tech. So I think we got all these edges.
I think it's a good thing to have that.
Totally.
Yeah.
I want to dive into your work now. Well, first, before I ask, I want to talk about your fear stuff. Are you still doing that?
Yeah. So I'm not doing retreats right now. But I do a lot of that with clients. Okay. So because fear of judgment, rejection, failure is so prevalent in people's lives, specifically with coaches and consultants, I still do quite a bit of work on the psychology behind that, helping them, release limiting beliefs and have breakthroughs. I used to do that primarily through retreats where I would take leaders surfing and great white shark diving. Since having a son, I've kind of gotten focused on family stuff right now, but I'm at the stage now where I'm getting that pull again to do some of that because it was so much fun. I literally would bring executives, entrepreneurs, leaders together for 3 days, and we'd have these breakthrough experiences. So I don't actively have those that I'm leading right now, but I plan to in the next year.
Amazing. I bet you that's so much fun to work on. What were you seeing? Like, were you able to kind of, were you pinpointing where fears began for a lot of these folks and kind of attacking that, or what was that?
Yeah. So we were doing it experientially, right?
Uh-huh.
So we were coming up with like, how do we put these people in an experience where it almost feels like physical danger is what they're afraid of? Because we often don't have physical danger around in our life. We're blessed not to. But the problem is like that fear feels the same in our body when it's irrational, right? I say that rational fears keep us alive, irrational fears keep us from living. And so there's so many people that would like to leave corporate, for example, to have the freedom to spend more time with their family, to build a business that has more meaning to them. But they're so afraid of starting over, or they're so afraid of risking everything that they've built, right? So there's a big psychological block there for those people that want to make that transition. So on these retreats, this was for some people that wanted to start businesses. It was also for executives who just wanted to become a better leader and not be afraid of I think when you get to an executive level 2 in a lot of these companies, you're almost not just trying to, create value and grow, but not make the wrong decision or take the wrong action, because then you could lose that chance, if that makes sense. So we would do a lot of experiential work to address those fears, and a lot of those fears, to your point, came many, many years ago. It started with like a moment from childhood or a conversation that was had, and as adults, it's very easy it's easy to just be so consumed in the present moment that we don't really actually do the work to heal that part of ourselves. Mm-hmm. So we were doing a lot of that in those retreats.
What kind of fears do you have? The sillier, the better. Do you have any like? I'm afraid
funny
of
fears.
Afraid of spiders.
I am afraid of spiders.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely am. I've become better just because my wife is super afraid of spiders. So I've kind of stepped
up a bit. Yeah.
Any funny fears that I have? I think the fears that I have are, the fear of rejection is still a present thing for me, for sure. Yeah. At times I know that I have a people-pleasing pattern, and so fear of conflict is present for me, and I want to be able to really find safety in that and not be afraid of that. I think some of the most successful people on the planet have like a deep level of safety around conflict. It's just okay.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I've had I've had this potential conflict just lingering, and I've been just dancing around it, trying to like make it not so head on, but it's like it's coming to a head.
Totally.
But yeah, I just like, I've never like been in a fight and just always just avoided any sort of conflict. But even like, relational stuff, I would just like avoid it as much as I could. But man, sometimes it's just easier to
it's way easier, right? But it doesn't feel easier in the moment.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's so easy to like postpone or avoid it. Yeah. And then it often can get worse and more intense.
Totally. Well, I'm just like such a fan of relief.
Yeah.
That like, oh man, I could just do this, and like just knowing that relief's on the other side of it. Like, totally. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Sweet, man. I want to dive into your current work. So like, what's like, walk me through the setup. Like who's coming to you right now, and like what are you seeing and the whole thing.
Who's coming are the people with the 10, 20, 30 years of experience, right? Got a level of mastery and expertise, teaching them the fundamentals. So we're not taking someone who's a multi-six-figure entrepreneur and taking them to 7 figures. We're taking somebody from 0 to their first 6 figures. So like just starting out. And we're mastering the fundamentals, from like getting clear on their niche and their offer, to building a system that attracts consistent leads for them, right? To installing a sales process that feels genuine. And actually, most importantly, and this is kind of embarrassing to admit, but developing a coaching program that actually gets your clients results. I think a mistake I made in my journey is early on, I worked with some great coaches, but all I focused on was developing the marketing and the sales side of my business. And those are important. You need those, right? But the delivery side, the fulfillment side, is really the most important, right? Because if you're not delivering value, and if your clients are churning, that's a huge problem. That's going to limit any growth a business can have. And so just in the last year, 2 years, I've worked with some different business coaches to help me on clarifying like the secret to growing the business. Again, it's not about the money, it's about the impact, is creating world-class fulfillment. How do you over-deliver so much value that your clients become raving fans? And that's what is getting me the most excited right now in business, is doing that for us and then actually creating that ripple effect for our clients so that that's, I think, why, John, I got into coaching coaches, is because I recognize there's a limitation to the impact that I could have. There's one-on-one clients that I was working with. We were getting great results, but at a certain point I had enough to where the only way that I could help more was by working on the weekends and spending less time with my family and doing less of my hobbies. And I'm like, no, there's got to be a better way to leverage my time to still have that impact, but to do it with more people. I think it's by working with coaches and consultants and having them scale their impact.
I love that.
Yeah.
What do you think, and you might have just mentioned it with, hey, basically practicing what you're preaching,
Yeah.
but like, what do you think separates you? Like what makes you the best?
Yeah.
How come people are
love
so
these questions like you.
How come people are so pumped to work with you?
I would say number one is a mindset piece. I've done a lot of work around helping coaches develop the mindset required to become a successful coach. There's a lot of people out there teaching strategies and tactics, and those are important. You got to learn those things, but the psychology is everything. And so I think that's one really important thing. Another is that we've worked with a lot of variety of coaches. You know, I'm niching down now just on corporate leaders and kind of almost like just in the business coaching arena, but we've worked with health coaches and life coaches and relationship coaches. And sometimes those things, although I would argue may even be more important than career, they're not perceived as important at times, right? We often like invest more in things related to our career or our finances than we do in our relationships or our health. And so some of those coaches struggle in that arena. And so we've helped a lot of those, which I feel really proud of.
That's great.
Yeah.
And when you say mindset, do you feel like this is more getting people to just like clear their mind, look out for these other health things, or is it more confidence? Is it, mindset can mean a few things. How would you?
A variety of things. So one would be the willingness to take action, even when it feels new and unfamiliar.
Yeah.
So like speed of implementation is so critical. And I think you would agree as an entrepreneur, right? You have to take action even when you feel like you're not ready to. And that's a huge block. So that's one big mindset piece. I often say done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
And I think you can, as a creative, so like the speed of implementation is one of the most important things. Another thing is recognizing that it's going to take time building this thing and trusting the process of that, because it can be really discouraging and really lonely building the business. And you have
the foundation, man. Like
right?
some of these years are just foundational, you know, like totally. I remember saying like, everyone has their different ideas and definitions of success, financially speaking. And it's just like, well, yes, I can generate decent income as I build, but like, this isn't my year to like really blow up. I know I'm still building a foundation and I'm going to get there. So like, that's just like a relief.
Totally. Right. There's less pressure, less pressure. Right.
Yeah. It's not all going to happen right now.
Totally.
So I have a lot of young bucks, coming in, working under me and they're just like, well, how do I charge more? And I'm just like, dude, you got to just keep building the foundation.
For sure.
You got to get all these things, build the trust. And then then it just starts flowing.
For sure.
Right.
And to keep in mind, like why you're doing this and who you're doing this for. Cause like there's aspects of my business, and I'm sure yours too, that I don't love, that I don't love doing. And I still will do some of those things. Yeah. But in those moments where I'm like, I don't feel like doing this, or I want to hit snooze and sleep in, it's like, no, this is why I'm doing this and this is who I'm doing this for. And that motivation is really, really powerful.
Yeah, I love it. So what do you think, like you're rocking and rolling right now? Like where are you dreaming big? Do you have some like, hey, this is where I want to go? Or are you just like focused on what's in front of you at the moment?
I am dreaming big. Yes. I want to be the most trusted, coach and consulting company on the planet. I know that's a big audacious goal.
I love it.
Especially in the corporate space. That's the niche that we're going to serve. One thing that I'm really excited about in the business is we're partnering with a lot of coach certification companies right now. And so there's tons of those out there. There's great ones out there. There's ICF, there's IPEC, there's all these cool things. The problem is that all these coaches graduate with their letters at the end of their name, but they don't know how to build the business. And very few of those programs actually teach them the marketing, the sales, and the system side of things. So they have all these graduates that struggle and may have to go back to a job or may have to, go back into doing something that they don't want to do. And so I've recently partnered with these certification companies to kind of come in and train their students and give them access to our intellectual property and our curriculum and our templates and our team. And it's amplified the impact that we're having. So it feels really, really cool to be a trusted partner for these reputable certification companies that I respect and have respected for years. And now instead of feel like they're at a different level than me, to be the partner in that room to come in and train their team. So
that's amazing, man. Yeah. That's a nice piece that you filled, because they get the certificate and like there's learning the stuff. That's a whole other ball game.
Yes.
And you probably do this as well, but like I'm just so fatigued on the systems. I'm self-taught with everything. Like you'll always see me with a second monitor with YouTube on, and if I need to learn something, now we have ChatGPT, but like I've learned everything on YouTube and I've done everything myself. But now I'm just like tired.
Totally.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
So that's anytime I can find somebody that provides the supplemental system, I'm like all in.
Yeah. And that's a big thing, is like that system side of things is a huge headache for that space of coaches and consultants. Like a lot of us didn't get into the industry because we wanted to learn funnels and email systems and all that. We got in because we wanted to change lives and coach people. Right. And it's something that you got to learn if you're going to succeed and have a big impact. So we teach that stuff, but we also get to take it over and actually do a lot of that work for our clients, which is nice. That was not something we offered in the past, and it's something we offer now, where it's almost like a done with you service, which feels really good to provide that level of support.
It's amazing. Yeah. So you're doing all kinds of stuff and your brain's on, and like how are you with like daily structure and boundaries and stuff like that? Do you find yourself like overdoing it? Are you pretty disciplined with your schedule?
I am pretty disciplined.
What would be like your weekly?
My weekly schedule would be waking up at 5 or 5:30 in the morning. I used to sleep in a lot since becoming a dad. My son's kind of my alarm clock anyway, between 6:30 and 7. So having an hour of just me time is rare to come by during the day. And so that's like my time when I wake up, and I actually will often just meditate first thing in the morning and then go right into a work project. I used to go work out in the morning. I save that for the afternoon now, which I feel very blessed to be able to have the freedom to work out in the afternoon. But started my day with meditation, going into the most important project of that day. And I look at, there's a lot of, like you, I'm sure, have meetings, calls booked, other people's, requests of your time. And so my intention every day is if I can get 3 50-minute focus sessions, it's a productive day.
50?
50.
50.
Yeah, 50.
Okay,
and it sounds very specific.
No, it's great. I thought you said 15. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And then I'm like, oh.
Yeah, 50. Yeah. So if you think about the Pomodoro technique, which is like if you can focus on one project for 50 minutes and then give yourself permission to have a 10-minute break, you string together a few of those Pomodoro sessions throughout the day. And even, you could be more productive than somebody who put in 8 hours of distracted time. Yeah. Right. And so that's like my intention is, okay, I knock two of those out done by 11 a.m. and then I get one in the afternoon and I'm good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you have a certain block of the day where you do have meetings and stuff like that?
I do. Yeah. I usually block out any meetings before 10:30, so I won't take any calls before then. So that gives me the space to have at least 1, 2, minimum, potentially 3 of those 50-minute focus sessions. And then from there, it's just like, okay, cool. I've got calls with clients, or I've got other commitments, meetings, podcasts, stuff like that. So that makes a big difference, and I think that I never needed to do that until becoming a father. So that's like just been a very big stretch of time. It feels amazing. I would rather be with my son anyway. And the limited time that I have to focus on business, I want to focus on the right things.
I love that.
So that's really big.
Yeah. Our mutual friend, Eric Moeller, I remember we were working on some projects together and he was showing me his calendar and I'm like, just a couple of years ago, I was like, there's 30 minutes, let's fill it.
Yep.
And Eric, I remember he had these gaps on a schedule. I'm like, well, let's just do it then. He's like, nope, that's my white. He calls it white space.
Yes.
Oh, let's do it here. No, that's my purple space. And I'm just like, well, we can't do it if we don't go to one of these open spaces. And he's like, I keep the white space, I believe, for creativity. And the purple space is, I believe, just free time to do whatever he wants. He can go for a walk. He can read a book.
And that's non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. And I was
awesome.
just flabbergasted and mad because
Totally.
I'm like, we have stuff to do.
Totally.
You got open. I can see your calendar. I'm literally
sure.
looking at it. And he's like, nope. But it took me some time to adopt that.
Yeah.
And now I'm strict on my meetings.
Yep.
And now I have, this was a new thing for me for 2025 because I was incredibly overwhelmed underwater last year, even the year before.
Yeah.
But this year I was like, I think it was January 1. I went to my calendar, my Google Cal. I just started blocking days.
Good for you.
I blocked a few weeks here and there. I blocked days. I blocked back-to-back days.
Yeah.
And guess what? It's worked out.
Yeah.
No one's complained. Hey, everybody, here's my calendar. Great. Here's an open date.
Yep.
Great. Like, I'm just, so anybody that's like struggling with this and just like filling time like a maniac, like just
it's our responsibility to create those boundaries, right? Because if we don't, someone will fill that time.
Totally.
Right?
Even just block a morning and just start there. Like that's been my advice to anybody who's like on the come up right now. And they're in the grind. It's like, you got to take that time.
Yeah.
And that's been huge for me.
Yeah, for sure.
I know you got to run here in a minute, but I want to talk to you a little bit about, so your father.
Yep.
Great father.
Yep.
I just like love hanging out with you and the fam.
Thanks,
like,
man.
how is that? And this is like the most obvious question ever, but like, what's it like being a dad? I don't have kids. I'm not sure that's in my cards.
Yeah.
But like, do you remember what life was like even before?
It's hard to remember, actually.
Is it? I bet.
Yeah. 2.5 years. My son's 2.5 years old right now. So it wasn't that long ago. I mean, there was times when I definitely had more freedom, of course, time wise, but there's a level of, there's a level of joy and fulfillment that, I don't know how you can replace it without being a parent. It's incredible. And I'm just starting the journey, right? I haven't even gotten into adolescence and beyond. But it's so much fun and it's so much fulfilling. And it's interesting because it's been really emotional for me. Because my parents split up when I was 6 months old, I never had a template. My dad wasn't around. And so I kind of felt those first like 6 to 12 months as being a father as like I'm floundering. Like, what am I doing? Am I good enough? Am I being a good role model? All of that. And it's an innate thing of us as humans. It really is. Not saying that you need to be a parent at all, because I don't think many people do. And for me, it's like my highest value, and being a husband, number one, being a father, number two, and then the business. And it wasn't always like that. It was career, business was the only thing. So I know there's a lot that I'm learning. I think there's my highest form of personal growth at first was being an entrepreneur, and now it's being a dad, for sure.
That's amazing. And I've spent enough time with you and the kiddo and like all of our friends that bring the kids over to our parties. And like, I just had my friend Brad on, he lives here. We're both from Washington State, and he's got a kid who's turning 5. And I was just like, there's something just really admirable in it. I'm sure it's like all over, but here's where we live and this is all I see. But like all of you dads are just like crushing it. Like you're all I feel like giving your kids everything. Cause I grew up with my dad was there, but wasn't, he provided and all these things, and grateful for that, but wasn't like, holding me and using the L word and these sort of things. But I've seen that, and I don't know if this is a new generation with dads, but it's certainly something that I see in our group of friends.
Yeah.
And I just think it's like the coolest thing
I think
ever.
it is a new generation. I think about like my dad, and again, I didn't have my dad around. So even then, but I felt love when he was around. But I think about like my dad and my grandfather, and there was no communication of love there. Yeah. And my grandfather loved my dad, but he was just like, it was a different time in human history. I remember my grandmother saying once when my son was, we went to visit her and he was like 6 months old, and he was crying, which babies do. And she's like, oh yeah, when your dad used to do that, we just put him in the shoebox in the closet and shut the door. And I'm like, that's like traumatic to do this to a human being. And she just like didn't even consider that being bad. I'm like, okay, well, I understand kind of some of my dad's patterns now, and I had a lot more empathy and compassion for him.
Oh man.
So
yeah, it's funny, those stories. I mean, there's so many stories like that. And I know my dad grew up on a farm and had all the stories, but I just wanted to let you know that I've noticed you and all of our friends, and it's just like so awesome to see. So
I received that. That means a lot. Man. Thank you.
Well, Peter, I know everybody that's listening is going to be like, okay, I want to connect with Peter. Like, I need his help. And I mean, you cover so much ground. Yeah. So if people want to hit you up, like what's the best way to
Easiest place is connect with me on social. I have a YouTube channel, which you're helping me with, which is awesome. Yep. So if you just search Peter Scott IV as in the fourth on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, I'm in those places. And, I think that's the best place to connect.
Is there anybody specific that you want to invite in? Is anybody like if they're in a certain
good question?
Certain place?
Thank you. If you're an aspiring entrepreneur, if you want to start a coaching or consulting business, that's we're happy. We have tons of free training and content. I actually have a free online course on the YouTube channel. So if you connect there, if you want help with figuring out how to launch the business, how to scale the business, that's what we're really good at. I definitely invite you to reach out.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Peter, thanks so much for coming in. Another episode of the PCP Down. Hopefully you had a good time.
I loved it, John. This is awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.